Today I'm presenting SCR 8, which would name a specific portion of the State Highway 134 between the 2 freeway and Interstate 210 in Los Angeles County as the President Barack H. Obama Memorial Highway. As you know, President Obama developed close ties with our state as he began his college education in California, attending Occidental College in Eagle Rock from 1979 to 1981. He lived in Pasadena during his sophomore year and traveled this very stretch of freeway to go from his home to school. His time at Occidental played a major role in determining his future. He made his first political speech there in February 18, 1981, as part of a movement to persuade the Occidental Board of Trustees to divest the college of its investments in South Africa. President Obama's story is an American story, and he has strong connections to this area. I'm pleased that this suggestion for this bill came to me by activists in the district. As Pasadena was designating a plaque in front of the home he lived in, they approached me and said, wouldn't it be great to memorialize, or excuse me, commemorate his time in the region? I thought it was a great idea, and would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Move the bill.
We have first and a second. Any members of the public that would like to testify on behalf of the author's bill? Any members of the public that would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Seeing none, any questions of the committee of the author? Assemblymember Baker.
Thank you. Just to the question and long-standing policy of generally not naming memorial highways for those who are still alive. And I wonder if you can address that. It's been in some of the analyses, and I would like to see President Obama live a very long and happy future for many decades. So I wouldn't want to see anything change in that regard, but I wonder if you can address that policy as it affects your bill.
Absolutely. I should not have used the word memorial. That was a faux pas on my part. I think it's a sign of respect and commemorate his time in the region. We have oftentimes done memorials, but we've also, with the bridge for Willie Brown, is still living, obviously, and the Reagan Highway was named while Ronald Reagan was still alive as well, the section of the 118.
Yeah, I don't know if the Reagan one was while he was with Assembly votes, but I don't know if the
He was still alive at the time when
Correct.
it was named for him.
But in terms of I thought that was the Assembly hasn't traditionally supported when someone's alive. I'm just curious if you're asking us to consider a different policy or make an exception in this regard.
I am asking you to judge the merits of President Obama's contribution to our country and his connection to the district, and to recognize that with a sign on the 134 freeway. How it's looked at from a precedent-setting perspective, I'll leave that to the individual assembly members to make that determination. But from my personal perspective, there's a legitimate connection to this freeway. There's a legitimate contributions to our state, and it was the beginning of his political career, so I think it's appropriate.
Thank you.
So let me give you a clarification, Assemblymember. Our policy and the rules of this committee includes a requiring that when a resolution names a highway or structure in honor of an individual, the designee must have been deceased except in the instance of elected officials, in which case they must be out of office. And that has been the case with this consultant for the last 11 years. Okay, so just for clarification. Mr. Harper.
Thank you very much. Yeah, was a lot of discussion in regards to the briefing about the Reagan Freeway, and of course that was rejected with the chair initially reacting against that proposal, but was eventually adopted. And I think it's also important to note for historical context that, of course, there was the Nixon Freeway that was named, and I think that seemed to have kind of been repealed, if you will, or annulled upon revision. And so, of course, when someone is so young, you don't know their life's entirety, and certainly how they'll be remembered by history. But I think it's important to note. We read just in the LA Times and the rest of the news media about the Los Angeles City Council already adopting Obama Road or Obama Boulevard in Los Angeles, another east-west thoroughfare. And so I think there is a question of how much confusion that it leads to when you have not only an Obama Boulevard that's an east-west route in Los Angeles County, but you also have an Obama freeway as well in Los Angeles County. And I think it's also important to note in the politically charged climate, a part of the reason why we are always very reticent about naming government fixtures isn't always about the individual, but of course there are numerous reports and speculations about potential candidacy with the same name, the Michelle Obama candidacy, perhaps for U.S. Senate. There's been plenty of news outlets that have speculated about that. But here, the author, I think, brought up the issue about how much a connection there is to California. And of course, you know, Barack Obama did leave Occidental to finish his college degree back east. And I could see if was maybe an effort for perhaps Barack Obama to have something named after him in all 50 states. But being quite frank about the popularity, maybe this might be an effort to name a freeway after him in California because it might be one of the few states that does so.
Mr. Portantino, I'm going to let you address that in your close.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions of the members from Mr. Portantino, Senator? Seeing none?
Thank you,
close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is a rare opportunity because many, many young people throughout California have been inspired by President Obama. He was a young president. He captured the imagination and the dreams of many young people, bringing them into the political process from both parties. This particular proposal enjoyed bipartisan support in the state Senate. It comes from the grassroots, so I think that's also important, that it was the locals who said we should do this. It wasn't just something, frankly, that I thought of without that impetus. I do think it's appropriate. I think it's tangible, real, and appropriate, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. And you know what? I really do appreciate you bringing this forward. I mean, I love coming to cities that have like a dozen Martin Luther King roads, identifying that individual. And they do. And it's fantastic, right? So we're recognizing people that have been impactful in our lives. And again, this is about previously elected. We have the George Miller Bridge and Benicia Martinez, and these are recognized individuals who have made a contribution to our state. And we're just saying thank you. So I'll be supporting your resolution today, and thank you for bringing this forward. Should have been on consent, but here we are. Madam Secretary, please. Oh, I have a first by Mr. Medina, second by Mr. O'Donnell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is be adopted. Frazier?
Yes.
Frazier, aye. Fong? Fong, no. Aguiar Curry?
Aye.
Aguiar Curry, aye. Baker?
Aye.
Baker, aye. Berman? Aye. Berman, aye. Bocanegra? Aye. Bocanegra, aye. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Daley? Aye. Daley, aye. Friedman? Aye. Friedman, aye. Harper?
No.
Harper, no. Mathis? No. Mathis, no. Medina? Aye. Medina, aye. Nazarian?
Aye.
Nazarian, aye. O'Donnell? O'Donnell, aye.
Shockingly, 11-3. Your bill is out.
Thank you, Mr.
Hope you
Chair.
can
and
roll over
members.
for absent members. Thank you, Mr. Wharton. Senator Portantino.